Good day, fret friends, and just about to say we've got something nice in today, because it's what I always say, but we have got something nice in today. And it is, can you see it? It's an Epiphone, and it's an Epiphone V, and it belongs to, I say a client, he's more a friend than a client, it belongs to Jamie Hunter. He's a guitarist of a band called the King of Pigs, so check them out, they're on Facebook, they're pretty good. And this is a guitar he's bought in for a setup, and he wants a pickup swap. It's got a couple of scratches, a couple of dings here and there, but it has got a glued in neck, Grover tuners, standard pickups, a roller bridge has been put in there which is actually as low as it will go, so if it needs to go lower for the action we've shot it. Also the pick guard doesn't fit perfectly on these holes here where the bridge is, you'll just see a little bit closer here, but I was going to alter it, but I'm not going to alter it because it's okay. The bridge studs do actually work fine. Now the bridge is leaning forward, which I don't like the look of, so I would be inclined to look into that, and if the bridge posts aren't in there straight, maybe in the future we need to look at getting them re-drilled and put in properly. Guitar itself plays nice, but it doesn't sound too great. It's why we're changing the pickups. Sounds a little bit muddy, doesn't it? Pickup we're going to put in there is a Duncan designed Invader. Now, bear with me a second. You could be forgiven for thinking that a Duncan designed Invader is based on the Seymour Duncan Invader. And it certainly looks like it is, but it isn't. Because I actually know that this, the HB108B bridge pickup, blah 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 blah, is actually based on the Seymour Duncan Super Distortion. Is that the SH5 or the SH6? It's got the same wiring, same copper, same wraps and wire and magnets as the Seymour Duncan Super Distortion, and it's got the Invader pole pieces. So basically what you're getting is you're getting the difference between that as well also is these are wrapped and made in Korea, whereas the American Seymour Duncans are obviously made in America. So you're basically getting a Korean-made Seymour Duncan Super Distortion with Seymour Duncan Invader pole pieces. Jamie's used these before. I've stuck them in for him. We're going to leave this intact. I didn't realise it's a brand new one. It's a brand new one, so I normally wipe that off with Duncan Design, but we're going to leave that on. Going to stick that in the bridge. Anything else that needs doing to the guitar, whether the frets need levelling, polishing, well they do need polishing, I've already seen them. Anything else that needs doing will be done. I'll have the scratch plate off there, check all the wiring. I'm going to be redoing the wire anyway. I'll check all the pots and everything. Anything it needs doing will be done. I'm not going to film a great deal of this because I've got a lot of work on at the moment and I'd like to get this one done so Jamie can have it back, but if we have any problems I will come back and let you know. One more thing I need to add, I've not checked the truss rod yet. If the truss rod's working fine, then that's it, because I noticed there is a bit of a bow in the neck. We need to get that straightened out. That in itself is going to make the action higher, because once we put relief in there, so again that bridge could cause us a problem. I don't know, it's as low as it will go right now. If we can't get it, if we need to get it lower and we can't, I would consider swapping that out for a standard bridge rather than roller bridge. My phone's binging like an idiot at the moment. That'll be my wife, she's away. It's about 6:30 at night on a Friday night. I should be in the fridge now pulling a cold one out. She should be here getting dinner done and we're getting ready to go out for a drink. But no, Michelle is in, she's in Nottingham at the library, studying I imagine. Well, she is, that's what she's doing. And I'm here and I'm going to be stuck, I'm not going to be stuck in here, but I'm going to stay in here and I'm going to work until she gets back. So that's it, so stay tuned, I'll come back with an update shortly. So, one tiny little problem, I've just done the intonation on the guitar and on the EAD, on the G string, or the third string, there's not enough adjustment on the bridge. It needs to go back about another 2mm this way. And we're right at the end of the adjustment there. I had exactly the same problem when I had one of these Flying V's. I had the the Carina wood version of one of these, and I had exactly the same thing, and what I did to remedy that was I actually filled in the hole, the bridge post hole, and re-drilled and moved it this way a bit. It's too big of a job to do on this guitar. right now. So what I'm going to do is, because all the other strings are intoned correctly, it's just one string and it's a couple of cents out, and I'm going to leave it. It doesn't sound that bad on the 12th fret harmonic, it's a tiny bit out. You do get those G strings are always problematical. That's rude, doesn't it? Always tend to be, if there's going to be a problem with any string, or whether it be the nut end or the bridge end, it's normally always the G string. I could drill them posts out, fill them in and re-drill them again, but it means then we've got to, we've got to touch up the paintwork. Too big a job. I'll talk to Jamie about it. I'm sure Jamie's just going to say leave it. But also I think those bridge pins are bent. I think the bridge should be sat like that, and it's kind of sat like that. I think the bridge pins need bending that way. If they do need to come out and need to go in again, I mean, you look at where the pick guard is in relation to the bridge. Look at the holes there. Yeah, at this end they're right up close. Maybe the bridge has been positioned incorrectly when it was drilled and put in. Won't be the first time it's happened. I've had this on Epiphones before. Ideally, what we would do is we would plug those holes with some 10mm dowel, which I have some here. It's exactly the right kind of stuff. We'd basically take the plugs out, take the studs out, we'd fill them with this and some glue, we'd sand it flat around the paint area, and then we'd re-drill. Might be an option, you know, to re-drill them about 1.5mm back. Just means the job's going to be a pain in the butt for me. I'll talk to Jamie, see what he says. It could always be something we could always do later on. But that's it. It's not a massive problem. All the other strings, the intonation's absolutely bang on, apart from that one string, the G string. So anyway, going to get strings off, going to have a look at the neck, make sure truss rod's working. If it is, I'm going to crack on with the work, and back in a bit. But regarding the truss rod, we have good news. I've just tightened my truss rod up, got the neck absolutely straight, which that means there's a lot of bow in this. Not bow, relief, more relief than we needed in there. So the good thing about this is, because I've tightened up the truss rod and got my neck dead straight, the action is really low. So it means to get the correct action, we need to bring the bridge up a bit. That is going to alter the way the intonation works slightly. It's also going to alter the way the guitar plays. So that is it. I will come back and let you know any more later. So I've just talked to Jamie on the phone. We're going to leave it for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try something. I'm going to take the bridge off and I'm going to turn it the other way around, see if we get more adjustment that way. I think we will do. If we turn the screws this end, if we do a 180 with that, we'll have the screws this end, we'll get more adjustment this way. Failing that, I mean, I could pull that plug and I could fill it in and re-drill. But at the moment, we're going to turn the bridge around. I've also checked the truss rod. The truss rod is working absolutely fine, which is brilliant, because we didn't have back bow in here. We had a lot of relief in here, and I've straightened it out. Now I've straightened my neck out. The strings are more or less touching the fret. Well, touching the frets. I'll show you. There you go. Just about touching there. It means we've got to get the bridge higher to get the action right, which is absolutely fantastic news, because it means the bridge isn't sat right low like I thought it was going to be. So it's going to be good. I've had the not straight edge on there. Check the neck straight. It is. Next thing to do is just to check the frets, and I'm going to do that while you're here. End of the day, if it needs a fret level or any frets altering, I'm going to do it anyway. Money's no object on this thing, never is with Jamie. But let's just go across the frets. That's a tiny bit high. It's not even high enough to have to touch. Little high one there. 3 high ones so far. 4, 5. Absolutely wonderful. We've got five high frets. 3 of them not even really worth bothering with. I'll get those 5 frets leveled. I'll get them all crowned and repolished. And I'll get the new pickup in there, blah 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 blah. So pretty straightforward now, I think. Biggest problem being the bridge. Again, I'll point you to the scratch plate. There's a massive gap that side, but none there. That to me is saying the scratch plate's right, the bridge position is wrong. That needs to go back a little bit, probably both of them back a little bit. I know when I had mine, I had to move this back 2mm to get the intonation right. Maybe it's a factory fault, someone didn't pick up on it. Again, your gauge of string makes a difference. If you're using a fatter, heavier string, like Jamie is using, you normally need to lengthen the string length, the scale length. So if he was using a thinner string, a lighter string, maybe we'd get away with it. But he's using this string anyway. If it's a cent out when we've got it all tuned and the intonation done, it's not a big deal. 5 of the strings in tone perfectly. So it's just going to be one. If you know, you're not really going to notice it, especially with styles we play anyway. You know, so I think it's all good. I'm going to get on with it now. I'm going to get the strings off, and I can start getting some of the main work done. Hi guys, back with this Epiphone V. Pickups in. Straightforward wiring job there. No problems at all. The pots and the wiring inside there were fantastic anyway. Really good. Also the bridge problem fixed really easily. All I did was where those screws are coming to the end of the guitar this way, like so, turn it around 180 degrees, blah blah blah, fixed the problem. It gives me 1mm extra adjustment on the saddle bit itself. Look at the saddle there, that's the one I was using. Look how much of a gap there is there between the saddle and the edge of the bridge. Where you turn it over, we're now using this saddle. This saddle is right up to the edge. It gives us 1mm extra, and now I have enough adjustment to do the intonation correctly. So getting back to the guitar itself, I've levelled the 8 frets that needed levelling. Once I'd levelled those, a couple more had gone out of whack, so I had to adjust those as well. Always, there's no point, I don't even know why I bother trying doing more than 5 with a file. I may as well just get it on the jig or just do the lot, and it's what I'm doing. And I've got them all level now anyway, and I've marked them all off in pen. The neck is absolutely straight now. Gone across with a not straight edge, make sure we've got all the relief out of here, there's no back bow, perfectly straight. And I'm going to go across all of the frets with a beam, levelling beam. And I've already got them level, so I'm not going to use the 240 grit coarse side, I'm going to use the fine side, which is 400 grit. And once the pen's removed, the frets will all be level, and then I'll get back to where I've levelled them, we've gone flat, I'm going to re-crown the lot. So he's having a complete fret level on this guitar, as well as the electric stun and the setup. So he's doing pretty well, but he's got no problem with the price. He's got to pay. Jamie's like that, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to charge him mega bucks anyway. He's a regular customer, you know, and he's going to be well looked after. So I'm going to crack on. I'm not going to film it, you know how it all works, and I want to crack on and get a lot more done than I normally would today. It is a Sunday, by the way. I never do any work on Sundays, but I didn't do anything yesterday. I wasn't here. I went to Skegness and picked up my new Black Star amp, so I'm allowed now to work today. So I'm going to work this afternoon. I'm going to enjoy it. Sun's shining. Going to crack on, get this done. I'm going to enjoy myself. So it's a levelling all done. You'll see quite a bit of muck, although it's not muck over the tape, that is the dust of the frets because they're marked out in pen, but you'll see now they're also flat in some areas, and I've got to put that curve back in there, like I say. So I'm going to re-crown the lot now. I'm going to use an array of files. I say an array, I'm going to use a couple of files, but I took the nut off when I was doing the job because, well, I could avoid it. I'll glue that back on, come off nice and clean. It just means I can level the frets better. I might not even need to glue. I'm going to glue it, but I might not need to. If I've got a better knot than that, I might even stick a better knot on there. Looks okay. So like I say, I'm going to crown the frets. Using just two files. Not really using my crimson one much anymore. I can't remember where I got this one from, but it's a fine cut. It's like a number 3 Swiss cut. It's got ground flat edges and a ground edge there. And basically, if you imagine a fret going that way, I use this file to go across, and as I roll over, I put that arc back in there. Where a fret's flat, I need to get that arc back in. This will help me create that arc, and as I need to come across more, I'll roll over to create that arc. Once that's done, I will finish with my proper finishing file, which again has a curved edge. It cuts to the radius of the fret, not the radius of the fingerboard, that would just be stupid. And that will remove any, we'll just go across that way, and that will remove any burrs I've got on there that I can get on to the polishing. So I'm going to crack on with that, and I'll show you how it ends up. I don't know how much you can see there, and the camera is a little bit in my way, but I'm going to show you how I crown the fret. And I know I've shown it a million times before. but I'm going to show how it works, and I'm going to see if I can just zoom in, and wherever the camera zooms in is where I'm going to take it from. Right, let me choose, where are we? Let's go with this one. I'm going to show you how we work that. Right, let me get a pen so I know where I am. I do know where I am anyway, there's a mark on there. Why don't I just mark that fret off so I can see where I am. 3-edge file. Fret is flat, and I'm looking to get that curve back in there on the top. So I'm going to take the 3-edge file, flat edge, flat edge, flat edge, and I'm just going to, now I'm going to have to work around the camera here, so if I get in the way I do apologise. I'm just going to take the file and I'm just going to slightly, and it will pay me to go forwards and backwards even though it's a one-way cut. And all I'm doing is just taking off that edge, making that pen line really thin, and then I'll start to arc over this way. I'll start to go that way and I'll start to arc over that way, and hopefully you can see this. I'm going to follow the radius of the fingerboard, nice and gentle. I can feel it cutting, and that's that side done. Once that's done, we clean the file, always clean the file, and I'm going to work this side now. Hold the guitar steady, and you do this by feel more than anything, and that you can feel where you're cutting. And there you go. Don't know if you can see, but down the centre of this fret we've got a really thin line. It's probably 1/3 of a millimetre, and that is the amount of fret that's going to touch to the bottom of the string when we press the string on there. That's absolutely beautiful. Once that's done, we'll take the profiling file again, always wipe, and we're just going to remove any burrs that are there, and there we go. And that, in a nutshell, is how we recrown a fret. It's now done. I'm going to check it for level, and then we'll check around it, see if we took too much off. We've not taken any height off there because we've left the thin black line down the centre, so we've not removed the height. So because it's level, it's still level, but it's now where it was flat before, it's now curved. We've got that crown back in. I have 21 or so more frets to do, so I'm going to crack on with it. I hope that's been helpful to you. I'll be back shortly. And here we are, and the frets have been levelled, recrowned and polished, the whole lot. I think you'll agree that they look fantastic now. Fingerboard looks great. It's been treated with mineral oil, known to you as lemon oil. Looks absolutely brilliant. So all of the frets have been levelled and recrowned. More work than I was expecting to do, but you know what? Mess and wads, absolutely beautiful. Really, really pleased with the result. All that remains for me to do now is put on the new strings, put on the bridge, make sure I put it on the right way, so I can set the intonation. I will reset the intonation, and I'm tuning this to C standard, and that will be it. It will be ready to go. I'll see if I've got a spare volume knob. This one's got a crack in it. I'll have one of these, knock it over here. There you go. There you go. Got a big chunk out of it there. I'll have a spare one of them knocking about in the parts drawer, so we'll bang one of them on there, and that will be it. Neck frets look absolutely. This is what I love. This is why I'm fret friend, people. I love fretwork. Just let me show you that again. Let me zoom in on that. Look at them frets. All perfectly level, all perfectly crowned, all polished. Really, really pleased with them. So yeah, back soon. Right then, boys and girls, different camera angle. Not a camera angle I normally use, but I'm using this for a reason. The Epiphone V is done, but I also want to get in. I've got a brand new amp here, Blackstar HT Studio 20 watt combo amp. Fantastic clean channel, fantastic overdrive channel. It has been upgraded with a Celestion Vintage 30 or a V30 speaker. It sounds amazing. Tune the guitar into drop A sharp, which basically is C standard, but we just drop the bass note. One of my favourite tunings on a heavy guitar. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to be tuning this back up to C standard, which is what the owner wants. But I'm just going to give it a sound demo of the guitar, Just to remind everyone, what we've had done is I've upgraded the pickup to a Seymour Duncan, Duncan designed Invader, which is basically a Seymour Duncan distortion or super distortion with Invader pole pieces. Look at that, what a beast. And I've done a complete fret level, recrown and polish, and it's had the full works on the setup. Got the intonation as close as I can get it on my G string. It's the furthest away it can be with most adjustment. It is just 1 cent out. Everything else is perfect, it's bang on. So, Black Star channel, I've got the gain completely on full. Treble quite high, middle quite high. But, well, I've got bass at 2 o'clock, middle at 2 o'clock, treble at about 4 o'clock. I've got the ISF straight in the middle between English and American styling. I've got reverb on about half, and I've got the gain on full, volume on about 3 o'clock, and I've got the master volume round about 8 o'clock. I'm using a Maxon OD808 overdrive as a clean boost. I've got the tone on full, I've got no drive whatsoever, and I've got the volume on full. Let's just have a sound check on the clean channel. I'm going to move over to the clean channel and give a little test, a little demo. I think you'll agree that that sounds absolutely brutal. This is just what the owner wants. Jamie Hunter is a guitarist of a band called King of Pigs. I've explained what I've done to the guitar. It sounds absolutely fantastic. I just need to tune it back into C. Strings on there are Ernie Ball Beefy Slinkies, which are an 1154 gauge. Beautiful strings. I'll probably stick something similar on my Explorer when I get it back next week. So that's it, it's all done. Another project finished, beautiful guitar, ready to go. So until next time, boys and girls, be good to each other, and I will see you soon.